What's up, guys? Welcome into the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And as you can see, G Money Grant Mitchell is still sick this morning, so we are riding solo once again, and you can't teach that. But we're still bringing the winners. Bada boom. Man of the people in the room, welcome in to Ride the Line. If you're watching on YouTube, I hope you're riding this morning. If you're watching on TikTok, I hope you are riding. We got some comments already coming in on TikTok, guys. Appreciate that. Focusing on Thursday night football, and then we can get into the NBA and college basketball a little bit at the end of the show. But make sure you drop your questions, guys. If you have any questions about anything, I will do my best to answer them. Pat, coming in here, lost 2 NBA player props by 2 hooks last night. Losing by the hook is not fun, but I posted on Pickett that I lost a total the other day in college basketball by the hook, UConn versus New Hampshire. I had 147.5. Very painful because the line closed at 151.5. I just got in on it way too early, and there were 148 points scored in the game. And the reason they were scored was because of a foul shot with 10 seconds left. So definitely tough, Pat. I feel you. I feel your pain. It happens, but you're going to win by the hook, and it's going to be the greatest feeling in the world. That's the thing. Sharky is in the house. What up, Sharky? How we doing this morning, guys? Make sure you're liking the live and all that. What's up, Sharky? What's up, Sharky? Justin just joined. Any Thursday night football bets? We're talking all about Thursday night football on here, Kiko. So we will be breaking that down in a minute. But before we get to that, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you guys are watching on TikTok right now, make sure you go up, link in the bio. You can watch the replay on YouTube and also subscribe on TikTok too. Hopefully we get some more people joining here this morning. It's Wednesday. It's a slower day in the sports world, not like a Monday. But Monday's show is epic, so I appreciate everyone who joined in on that, guys. And let's get into it. So game on Thursday Night Football should be very interesting here. First thing I want to look at is the splits. We were looking at the splits for Monday Night Football. First of all, Bears +3. Bang. Bears +3. Number 2, DJ Moore over his receiving yards. Number 3, the under. So NFL material coming in here saying bro literally works for the books. I do work for a sports book. With that being said, though, still giving out winners. If I don't give out winners, I don't sell picks. I don't make money. I don't do a lot. So, of course, I'm trying to give out winners. You think I want to lose? You think I want to gamble my own money away? And by the way, too, I hate this comment when people say you work for the books in the sense of, do you think anyone cares about your $100 bet, buddy? You think anyone cares? No. If I tell you to take a side, the book's still going to win. That's how it works. Anyways, cash it. There we go, Sharky. What up, Sharky? What up, Sharky? Yeah, I hate that thing. Bro literally works for the books. Like, guys, do you think if I give you a bet and put your $100 bet on one side, it's making a difference? Hell no. Come on. Be better. Anyways, guys, we're talking some Thursday night football. Monday Night Football went our way. Let's look at the splits in this game. We were looking at the splits the other day. Someone said, why would you bet off splits? I don't bet off splits, but I like looking at them. I think it gives us a good perception on the public, on the sharps, and we can't really see much in this game. The over is an interesting line here on DraftKings, 57% of the bets and 63%. The handle is on the over of 47, so that's a little interesting. We usually see these primetime games with the unders. Money line wise, the public's all over Dallas. Spread wise, the public is all over Dallas. 80% of the bets, 86% of the handle currently on DraftKings. And 2, this line's going to continue to rise. I believe it opened to 8.5. Should be up to 9.5, 10, 10.5 by the end of this, by the kickoff. So just keep an eye out for that. Don't jump in on this one too early. If you're looking at the Seahawks, if you're looking at the Cowboys, I would get it now because with 86% of the money, this line is only going to continue to move in their favor. So just keep that in mind there. And then we look at the updated lines here. We'll look on FanDuel for this one. So we look at FanDuel for the updated lines. If you're betting on FanDuel as well, guys, if you want to get on FanDuel, make sure you go up in the link in the bio. We have a bunch of stuff on WSM, but they still have it at 9. Money line's 330. For the Seahawks, minus 420 for the Cowboys, and the total is set at 46.5. On both sides there. Over Dak passing, over Geno passing all day. What up, Sharky? What up, Sharky? I like that. I think Dak's been playing really well. And if the Cowboys come in and cover in this football game, Dak is going to be the reason they do it. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the Cowboys for a minute. Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys. The Cowboys, you can only play what your schedule says you can play, right? We know that. You can only play what your schedule says. With that being said, though, they have not answered the call against good teams this season. They're 8-3. You lost the Cardinals. Okay, I can see it. It's the NFL. You're going to have those bad games where you give up games. They lost to the 49ers 42-10. So we're absolutely blown out by the 49ers. And then against the Eagles, it was 28-23. They were on the 5-yard line in a position to win that game. But all I know is the fact of the matter is they have not gotten the job done against good teams. They have not beat a quality opponent yet. In their past 3 games, they've outscored their opponents 1,000,000 to basically nothing. With that being said, though, it's against the Giants, the Panthers, and the Commanders. So this is going to be a moderate test for them. So I wouldn't buy into the public hype saying that they're going to be, blowing the Seahawks off the field. Seahawks aren't a great team, not a terrible team. They're kind of middle of the road. They're better than what they've seen the past 3 weeks with the Giants, Panthers, and the Commanders. Danny and Normie coming in here. Good morning, Tanner from Kissimmee, Florida. Will the Bucs fire Todd Bowles after the season? I don't know. I think that's an interesting one. The Bucs firing Todd Bowles there. I think there's a lot of pressure on him. I think if he wins the division, which is still very likely, he probably doesn't get fired. But the defense has not been that good. He's not really focused on the defense as much. It's been better than the offense, obviously, but I think he's just so worried about trying to fix the offense and helping the offensive staff that the defense has gone by the wayside. That's the biggest thing that I've heard, at least out of Tampa Bay. So hopefully we figure it out, because I'm pseudo Bucs fan. I some days are out with the Bucs. I love Baker Mayfield. So hopefully this team can figure it out, but potentially. Don't really have an answer. I think there's going to be a lot of coaches that get fired. Black Monday this year in the NFL is going to be very, very ugly. There's going to be a lot of coaches on the chopping block. We're getting some more people joining here, guys. Appreciate that. We're talking Thursday night football. We're talking a little college basketball and NBA at the end if you want to do that as well. Will Mike Evans resign or go somewhere else? See, I don't know. That's a tough one with Mike Evans, too. You look at Mike Evans in the sense of this is a guy that wanted the contract at the beginning of the year. He didn't get it. He has Baker Mayfield throwing in the ball. I think he's starting to have a little fun, obviously, the 2-touchdown day last week. But I would imagine that he goes somewhere else. I think there's a lot of good places for him, Kansas City being one of them. I just don't think he stays in Tampa Bay. I think the Bucs are going to go into a rebuild. It's going to start with potentially a quarterback. They started last year. They got some good pieces on the offensive line. They need to continue to develop that group. And in that case, they have a chance to do something in the coming years. But it's not going to be next year or the year after. They're just lucky they play in a division that's not that strong. Like the Saints were expected to be the best team in the NFC South. They're not even close. He deserves a new contract. He deserved a new contract at the beginning of the year. I mean, he's in his, early 30s. So give him a 3-year deal. I think 3 years is fair, but definitely. Iowa Hawkeyes over 95 points. Have not looked at the Iowa game, but did you guys see the Iowa team total for the first half? It's wild in the Big Ten championship game. Absolutely wild. First half and second half. It's set at 0.5 point. So we'll see if they can go over that against Michigan. Penn State did shut out Iowa. Let's see. Iowa versus North Florida, 166. So Iowa team total. I would say go over on Iowa's team total with this big of a spread. If you like Iowa to cover, they have to go over the team total. If you like North Florida to cover, I probably lean towards under on Iowa's team total. Taking the under. Take the over. Yeah, I would take the over against North Florida. North Florida is giving up 71 points per game. They only gave up 75 to LSU, though. That's tough. Again, guys, I need to look at this a little more, but they've been good. They just haven't really played anyone outside of LSU. And maybe it was a bad game for LSU. We saw the Tigers get absolutely destroyed last night by Syracuse. But anyways, getting back into our Thursday night football discussion, let's talk about the Cowboys. The Cowboys have not played anyone or beaten anyone of quality. The Giants, Panthers, and Commanders are the last 3 wins. We're talking about how great Dak Prescott is. He's been very good in these games. He's my fantasy quarterback, been absolutely lighting it up. But he really hasn't done it against quality opponents. So we'll see in this game against the Seahawks. When I look at the cold hard football facts, guys, these are tool, which helps us analyze games, which helps us predict games. If you want to check that out, it's linked up in the bio. It's what I use for everything, guys. The Seattle Seahawks are 18th in the quality stats power rankings. The Dallas Cowboys are 3rd, but there's one stat that measures how efficient a team is against teams with records, against opponents with records above 500. The Seattle Seahawks rank 8th in the quality standings. The Dallas Cowboys rank 26th. So my play on this game would be waiting until kickoff. Most likely a live bet. We said this with the Bears the other night. The live bet was the way to go because you could have gotten the Bears for like plus 5.5 at one point there. I mean, for the most part, they dominated the game. You trade in St. Brown and Madison for Pollard and Ridley. I love St. Brown. Madison hasn't done much. Pollard, I think, is going to come alive a little bit. Ridley's been quiet. I love St. Brown. I wouldn't get rid of St. Brown. That's just my take. I think Ridley's going to come alive a little bit more. I think Pollard's been up and down. He's been inconsistent the past few weeks. He's been good, but the Cowboys' last part of their schedule, guys, is absolutely brutal. So that's a reason to not trade for Pollard. You look at the Cowboys in the coming weeks here. Eagles, Bills, Dolphins, Lions, Commanders. So just not great matchups coming for Pollard. So even though he's been on the upward trend a little bit there, I would probably say don't do that. I would keep St. Brown. And hopefully Madison comes alive a little bit. 49ers, we'll talk about Eagles 49ers at the end of this, but probably leaning towards the 49ers there. So my take on this Thursday night football game, probably to wait to live bet it or potentially get in right before kickoff here. I'm probably leaning towards the Seattle Seahawks. I think Dallas has to come back to earth just a little bit here. And I think you're going to be able to get a 10-point spread as we approach kickoff. So that would be my take. I think the Seahawks have played better against quality opponents. That's my biggest thing in this game. The way they stay alive in this one is by scoring early and often. We saw they had chances against the 49ers to hang in there. They found ways, but they just couldn't punch the ball in the end zone. So if they can score against Dallas, which is going to be very hard, and confuse Dak Prescott a little bit, I think they have a chance to cover 10 points in a primetime game. Trade deadline, not a thing for you. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. The trade deadline, I had a trade deadline in my league. Depends on the app that you're using. As far as the total goes, guys, the public is trending over in this game. There are some sharp money coming in on the over here. I just can't see getting on an over, and I think for the Seattle Seahawks to cover the spread, it's going to have to go under. It's going to have to be a lower scoring game just because of how good Dallas is on defense. Seattle's not as talented on defense, but the fact of the matter is I think they can confuse Dak Prescott a little more in this game. Tony Pollard rushing yards, guys, drop your props, guys, whatever you're playing, I can give you an input on that. Tony Pollard rushing, I would go over on that. I think that's going to be a very easy play here. 28th is what the Seattle Seahawks rank in defensive rusher rating. When I see that, I would always take the over. They're also 17th in defensive hog index. This could be a game where the Cowboys lean on the run a little bit more. Over everything, Zach Moss. Zach Moss is back, guys. Zach Moss is back. We're very excited about that for the Indianapolis Colts. Zach Moss fantasy owners memes were rolling in yesterday. Tanner, morning, bud. What's the good word today? The good word is Arkansas plus 5.5. That's the good word. We're talking some Thursday night football. Almost done with this, guys. Then we'll move into your questions. When was your trade deadline in your league? Just curious. I believe it was, let's see, I think it was week 9. Week 9 was my trade deadline. So a little while ago. Before Thanksgiving, yeah. Before Thanksgiving. Tony Pollard over his rushing attempts. Yeah, guys, I would go over on Tony Pollard everything. I think there's a lot of areas for the Dallas Cowboys to run the football in this game against the Seattle Seahawks. It's in prime time. We know prime time games are lower scoring, so that could be a reason to take Tony Pollard over everything. Brandon Cooks over 40.5 receiving yards or touchdown. Probably would lean towards the touchdown, guys. So we're talking two different bets there. If you're talking receiving yards or touchdowns, would probably lean towards the receiving yards. I'm not the biggest touchdown better, especially for receivers. Obviously, Brandon Cooks has been lighting it up. He's got 3 touchdowns in his past 5 games, coming off a 72-yard performance. 173 2 games ago. Like, teams are focusing on CeeDee Lamb, and that's why Cooks is getting the football so much. So I would lean on the over of 40.5. He's hit that in 4 of his past 5 games. I think that's a safer play than taking the touchdown there. Who do you think will have a better game, Dak or Tua this week? So Miami is playing against the Commanders. The Commanders are one of the worst teams against the pass in the NFL. I think that's going to turn into a pretty quick shootout. I would probably lean towards them. Dak's been playing outside of his mind, but just knowing what happens in primetime game, guys, I think it's a better spot for Tua if I had to pick. Goff or Stroud? So Jared Goff, let's see here, guys. Jared Goff, or C.J. Stroud. Looking at some numbers here. So Jared Goff against the Saints. Saints are 3rd in defensive passer rating. Not a great spot for them. I think that's going to be a lower scoring game. But again, you have the Denver Broncos against C.J. Stroud, who's also been good. The Broncos defense, it's hard to read Broncos stats, guys, because when you look at the game against Miami, where it was 70-20, right? When you look at that game, it's hard to look at their stats now because since that they've been pretty good, but that game just throws off their overall stats. So you want to look at what they've done recently. I think Denver's been pretty good, but I would lean towards CJ Stroud there. I trust him more against Denver than I do Jared Goff against the New Orleans Saints, because the Saints are good on defense, but also the Lions have so many weapons in the run game too that they can utilize. Brandon Ayuk over 60.5 receiving yards. I think it's a lock. What's your take? Well, so what's the lock, the over or the under? I would say the over of 60.5 yards is the lock there. Also look at Deebo Samuel, guys. Deebo Samuel was talking a lot of trash about James Bradberry this week. He was talking trash about the Eagles secondary in general. He says there's ways to exploit them. I think for San Francisco to win that game, they're going to have to throw the ball. Christian McCaffrey's going to have a good game. I don't know if it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be through the air. What's up, Katrina? Can I interrupt and ask your opinions on the NBA in-season tournament? Katrina, I have no clue. I'm going to be honest. Like, the NBA in-season tournament is I don't follow it enough to understand what's going on. Like, I saw the pregame odds last night for the Celtics to win Group C South or something, Group C East, whatever it was. And I'm a big Celtics fan. I watch Celtics all the time. I watch pretty much every Celtics game, right? I watched last night. I have no clue what's going on with this NBA in-season tournament. They were plus 700 to win the group last night in third. Plus 700 to win the group in third. Third most likely. There was a team in their group that was like minus 220. They won the group last night. I don't know how. Plus 700. They made it look easy. This NBA in-season tournament thing is wild to me. Absolutely wild. Third place team accrued Zach Moss yesterday from the last place team by Jackson Smith. Does anyone know, before I get into the fancy questions, does anyone know what's going on with the NBA in-season tournament? Like, I don't know how the Celtics were plus 700 last night and they won the group. That makes no sense to me. I don't know. Shisto, there we go. No clue. I have no clue. Guys, if you're watching on TikTok, getting some more people, make sure you like and make sure you're following the page, guys. Follow. Tennessee versus North Carolina under 144. I do think that's going to be a slower pace game instead of the total, though. I've been hurt by college football totals a lot. Or college basketball totals. I would rather lean towards Tennessee on the money line. All right, let me answer some of these questions, guys, before we sign off here. So, Katrina, I have no clue. The Celtics won the group. I don't know what that means. They were plus 700. I can't. If you won the group that easily last night, you shouldn't have been plus 700. Okay. There's probably good ways to exploit sports books, though, in the sense of that was probably a misprice if they were plus 700 and they won the group last night and they were playing a bad Bulls team. And if all they had to do was beat the Bulls and they were plus 700, that's a mistake on my end. Okay, who will have a better game, Brian Robinson or Najee? I don't know. I kind of like what the Steelers are doing right now offensively based on what they did last week. Brian Robinson has been pretty consistent. Let's see. Against the Miami Dolphins, they ranked 20th in defensive rush rating. I think that's a good area for them to attack. So probably would lean towards Brian Robinson there. Again, I like the Steelers a lot. That's their identity. They want to come out and run the football. And based on what we saw last week from Kenny Pickett, he was very good. The Cardinals also are very bad too, 30th in defensive rush rating. So it's a good matchup either way. The thing with the Steelers is you're going to see more split carries than Brian Robinson. So that's what you got to decide there. No clue. I had to do it with points, but Louisville money line Saturday. Let's see. So Celtics ran up the score over 30. Did it have to? It had to do with points. They had to win by 25 points or more. Gotcha. But see, like, again, if they had to win by 25 or more last night, and I knew that at plus 700 and the spread's 13.5. I mean, in the end of the day, if they had that motivation on to plus 700, I mean, come on. I would put a little money on that. Louisville money line Saturday in the ACC championship game. Probably, right? I don't think Florida State's that good. I think this is a tough spot for Florida State. Without Jordan Travis. Jordan Travis is the engine that makes that team go. I hate Louisville, though. I think Louisville is the biggest pretender in college football, right? Some games they've been good, like they beat Notre Dame, but overall, they're not that good of a football team. So that's a tough one. Again, if Florida State win, this is what's going to be a shame with the committee. And, if Florida State gets in, right? If they get in, they win this game and get into the college football playoff, you're just putting a team in there that's going to lose in the first round. You're putting a team without their starting quarterback. I think it's unfair. Iowa under a half total. So the halftime, we talked about this a little bit in that Big Ten championship game. Michigan has only shut out one team this season, right? They've only shut out once. I would probably take the over on the first half and the second half. I think you're going to hit one. And probably if you take the under on the first half and the second half, you're going to hit one, right? I think they do score 3 points in this game because their defense is good enough, I think, where they can hold Michigan down just a little bit, where they don't have to go for it on fourth down super early in the game. That's what the sports books are going for, too, in the sense of it's a half because they don't think they're going to be kicking field goals. They think they're going to be going for it on fourth down a lot. The Nets had to win by less than like 15 or something. Okay, gotcha. Okay. If I knew the Celtics were gonna run up the score, I'd taken them minus 20 at plus crazy odds. I would have too. Yeah, they had to win by 20 points. See, this is the problem. Nobody knows what's going on with the in-season tournament. The way they did it was so stupid. They should have literally just taken it like college basketball, picked 4 locations or 5, 6 locations, however you want to do it. Stick, 30 teams. So stick 5 teams, 6 teams at each location, have them play the whole weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Hell, make them play 3 days in a row. Make them play 2 days in a row, or Thursday to Sunday. Each team plays 2 games at every location. It's single elimination. Boom, you're done. We would have been able to comprehend it. We would have been able to understand it if you make it like the NCAA tournament. Since you're doing all this group A, B, C, like once you do East group A, group B, group C, like I don't know what's going on when you have all these groups. All right. Ohio State got to play with a 3rd string quarterback. Thanks, Kern. No problem, David. NBA PA wouldn't like that. I know they wouldn't. I know they wouldn't like that. They would hate that. But still, it would make it easier from the fans to comprehend it. Or have the, play a couple, set it up like a bracket with single elimination, and then take the top 8 teams to Vegas, or the top over a course of a week, or the top 4 teams to Vegas. Make it a little easier on us. I like your vibes, bro. Could I be your vibe later? Probably not, Christian, but I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Man of the people, AK Kern. What's up, David? What's up? Christian, I appreciate that. First year, though, they will work out the kinks. I agree. I think it's a really good concept. I like the cool courts. I like the cool jerseys, but there's still a lot missing with the NBA in-season tournament. I'm assuming that's Jokic. Jokic out tonight? I'm not sure. Let me look. Jokic. Questionable. Too early to tell. Again, it's against the Rockets. I see him not playing if it's against the Rockets. I think the Rockets on a back-to-back, right? The Rockets are on a back-to-back. They got lost by Dallas by 6 last night, and I don't see Jokic playing in this one now. What dog's barking today in college basketball? One dog barking today, guys. One dog. Here's my favorite play of the day, and then favorite play in a big game. I think Central Connecticut could win today as a dog, but I also really like Arkansas as a dog at home against Duke. So I think those are my 2 college football plays. Why is it they are saying Ohio State has a qualify win versus Notre Dame, but Louisville beat them? Has a quality win versus Notre Dame, but Louisville beat them. I don't know, guys. I don't know. Here's what's going to happen when it comes to the college football committee, and this is what's going to happen. I'm gonna spit it out right now for you. This is what the committee is going to do. So this whole like Alabama in 7th or 8th, wherever the hell they are, right at the back of the list. So they're gonna, if they win, they get in. All right. So Oregon plays Washington. Oregon beats Washington. All right. Oregon's a 9.5 point favorite. They beat Washington. They get in. All right. If Texas beats OK State, which they should, because OK State is literally the biggest, the worst football team I've ever seen. I watched OK State play last week. It was embarrassing. I think Texas has almost got to get in if they beat Oklahoma State, and Alabama loses. So if Georgia wins, they're in, right? And then if Michigan wins, they're in. I think Louisville probably ends up beating Florida State, and that's what the committee's hoping for. FSU needs to lose. We can't have them in the playoff with their Heisman hopeful. I agree. So if FSU loses, and I'm counting on them losing, I'm counting on Louisville winning that football game. So if they lose, you're going to get Oregon, Texas, Georgia, and Michigan. Now it gets really interesting if Alabama beats Georgia, because if Alabama beats Georgia, you got to put Alabama in. And realistically, Georgia's won 29 games in a row. You got to put them in as well. So Georgia gets in and Alabama gets in, which makes it really interesting. Michigan's going to win. They're going to get in. So now Texas, OK State, Oregon, Michigan, like then the committee's got a really hard decision. But if Alabama beats Georgia, Alabama gets in. And then it's like, well, Texas beat Alabama. Well, Oregon's good. Then it gets confusing. This is why they should not have rankings in college football. So many teams deserving. What happened to the Bet the Day page? Bet the Day was like 2 years ago, man. It was good. It was a good page. It was a good run, but that was like 2 years ago. Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, FSU will be in. So if Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, and FSU get in, that means FSU wins. That means Oregon wins. See, there's 2 games that matter: Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, or Michigan's going to win. Louisville, Florida State. If Louisville wins and Alabama wins, it gets very questionable. If Louisville wins, it at least knocks out Florida State. I like Bet the Day. Forgot about that. Bet the Day was a while ago, guys. That was like a couple jobs ago. Now we're DraftKings. Check out my stuff on the DraftKings page. Next year, 12-team playoff, it's going to be better. Ohio State lost a game. They weren't even favored. They are out. Makes no sense. Ohio State's not getting in, guys. I don't think for Ohio State to get in, Michigan has to lose. Michigan has to lose. Then you still put Michigan in. FSU has to lose. I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Think Penn State, then Penn State, best defense, period. Penn State's defense is great. Penn State's offense is atrocious. Iowa needs to win. I agree. Iowa needs to win. If Iowa wins, it opens up the door for a lot because then you don't get a Big Ten team in. I don't think a Big Ten team will get in if Iowa loses. If Iowa won. Because there's the Big Ten's trash. And Michigan's not a national championship team. So I hope you guys understand that. Georgia or even Alabama, I think, would beat Michigan. But that's what I'm saying. If Ohio State lost to Michigan week 4 and wins outright, they are in. If Ohio State lost to Michigan week 4, they didn't lose to Michigan week 4. They lost them at the end of the year. You're slow. Thanks, man. Iowa will win. No, I'm not saying Iowa wins. I didn't say Iowa would win, guys. I'm just saying that's what has to happen. If Iowa win, what are you referring to me as slow as? Saying the Big Ten's not good and Michigan's not a national championship team? I'm not wrong. Michigan is legit, dude. They're not legit because J.J. McCarthy's not that good. You're telling me Michigan's defense is okay. Offensively, you shut down Blake Corum, you're fine. Slow LO. Michigan's not that good, guys. The Big Ten is absolute trash. Tell me who Michigan played this year. Ohio State's not that good either. Nobody's really that legit. That's the thing. Nobody's that good. I think Georgia is hands down better than anyone else. I think Alabama can play with them. But yeah, Michigan's not that good, guys. Big Ten is overrated. There's a reason. I'll say this. There is a reason Michigan's going to win the Big Ten 3 years in a row and not have a national championship. When are you going to get over the hump? When? Georgia is mad overrated. I think Georgia is a little overrated. I don't think anyone's that good this year, but it's hard to be overrated when you won 29 games in a row in the SEC. Oregon could put up a fight because they can score. Who are you taking, Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy? Who are you taking, Bo Nix or J.J. McCarthy? I'll tell you who you're taking, Bo Nix. Nobody played anyone and Michigan cheated. Thank you. Big Ten scouts to win the Big Ten. Georgia and Bama scout to win playoff. Bo. Yeah, there you go. Who you want with the ball with the game on the line? Oregon's offense or Michigan's offense? Bo Nix. Bang. Okay? Who do you want with the game on the line? Georgia's offense or Michigan's offense? I'm still taking Georgia in the SEC. Who do you want with the game on the line? Jalen Milroe or J.J. McCarthy? I'm taking Jalen Milroe, and I don't like Jalen Milroe. I don't think he's that good. He's gotten a lot better. Did you know the ACC beat the SEC 6-4 this year? Does Alabama cover? I think Alabama covers. I think Alabama potentially wins outright. Roll Tide. Anyways, guys, we're going to sign off here. I hope everyone has a great day. I hope you do. I hope you ride today, ride the line. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, guys. Follow the page. Do it all. Let's get into it, guys, and we will see you on Friday for another episode.